Hey, it's Kisma, and I know you're about to watch the replay of how to break through that invisible identity ceiling that blocks your real confidence and natural authority. I also know you're busy, so I wanted to give you a couple of tidbits of what you can expect and why the immersion was really incredibly potent, and I think you're going to want to watch. So I talk about the ego triad threat. So there's a triangle of three things that when threatened, your ego just implodes, and that creates a terror barrier. So I walk you through that triangle and what to do when one side or all sides of that triangle gets threatened, because that's when your confidence collapses, and it's usually when you need it most. So we got you covered there. Then I go through the 3 B's of natural authority. Natural authority is so important because it's you taking ownership of your life. You're not handing over your self-concept, your beliefs to anyone else. You know who you are. And so those 3 B's are brain, body, and beliefs, and we go deep into each one. I'm also teaching the confidence frame, and there's 4 corners to the confidence frame that are really important: perception, belief, expectation, and decision. When you understand those, and the one to change first when you feel like your frame is collapsing, you're covered. And finally, I take you through a really quick 3-step subconscious reset that you can use anytime, anywhere. That's more towards the end. So I just wanted to give you an overview. Also, we're offering some free calls, Prosperity Code 101 calls. Myself, my team, we set aside some time because we realize that this information is potent, but you might want a way to go deeper, to implement. So you'll see the link below, book a call, and we're really good at helping you unplug that constraint that's holding you back. And if you want to work with us in the Prosperity Code, we'll share that too. I'm just so glad you're here, and I hope you'll dive in and let me know how you like it. Big hugs.
We have an official start in a minute, but I would love to hear from all of you amazing people. Tell me what you're excited about in terms of this topic, which is real self-confidence in natural authority. And you know, this is something we covered Illumination Academy a lot because it's one of our pillars towards self-mastery. So I know, Cahal, you want to take a crack at this? And because you're an expert, you got this.
All right. Well, I love this topic, first of all. I think that, confidence is one of the biggest barriers that people have for success in so many areas of their life. And I've always believed that confidence comes from 2 sources. It comes from our experiences, and it comes from our environment. And the more successful experiences we have in any realm, the more confident we become. And the people that surround us in that journey feed that confidence if they're the right people, right? And the opposite's also true. If we have a series of negative experiences, our confidence goes down. And if we're around people who are detracting from our confidence, that also goes down. That's what I love about Illumination Academy. It's not just the tools and the experiences to be confident, but it's the people that can bring it up. So for me, that's what I'm really focused on in my life. And I know that for today's workshop, it's going to be a big part of it. It's the tools and the environment.
Yeah, really well said. Hey, Jen, what about you? Any more take on that? Because you've done tons of work in this area. I mean, you're on stage. Jen is a speaker. She's got a big gig coming up in February, a TEDx talk. What does this confidence in natural authority mean to you?
Oh, wow. A lot. I think one of the biggest things that I learned from being in the container and with Illumination Academy is, I love this phrase that I quote you all the time when I tell people, it's having that centered awareness and that groundedness. Sometimes I think we immediately think confidence is about like, oh, I got to show up big and bold, and you do, but there's so much more power and authority in having that quiet confidence and knowing how to balance. They feel like opposing energies, but there is something very powerful when you can just learn how to walk into a room without being, loud and obnoxious, but there's something where somebody goes like, what's up with her?
I love
about that person, and it's
I want that.
Yes, it's learning about that quiet confidence, that powerful silent confidence that comes from the energy, and not so much that I have to be loud, I have to be talking to everybody. So that's what I think of.
I love it. I love it. So good. Jenny, you want to add a little sprinkle?
Yeah, I feel like you guys said it so perfectly, but I feel like the natural authority piece is what a lot of people are missing because, I'm confident in a lot of things, but does that come to light? Do people see that when you walk into a room, when you're in a job interview, whatever you're doing? Is the confidence working the way you want it? And that's what I'm excited to dive
I love
into.
it. Well said from the team. And of course, Nick's in the background. He'll be on another one. Hey, Sheila. So we have a lot to share. If you are ready to go, just type in a yes. I'm going to share my screen here and get some slides going. Lots to cover. I'm super excited. In fact, guys, I've never presented this content before, and I don't know if I'm going to do it again. Honestly speaking, I'm pulling from India. I'm pulling from people who train the Secret Service. There's a lot here, but one of the things that we do love about Illumination Academy is some of our clients are here, is we help leaders and founders and creatives access their full potential so they can achieve anything they want. That full potential, that natural authority is your ability to handle life. And this is so important right now, everyone, because as you know, there's more noise than ever before. So as I'm getting going, and thanks for the help in there. Hey, Mallory, we've got Sheila and Kevin and Kristen and Megan and Camille. Afsana's here. Just type in where you're all coming in from. Let's put it in the chat and see how interconnected we are. And I'm super excited about this. I'll introduce myself for new people in a moment, but I just want to make sure we're connected. Hey, Barry, good to see you. And welcome to How to Break the Invisible Identity Ceiling that blocks you from real confidence and natural authority. And let's set the room. If you've been here before, you know that we set the room. We've got Southern California. We've got New York in the room. Amazing. And Florida, New York City, of course. Hey, Camille, Philadelphia. I lived there. I lived in Boston, lived in New York. I lived a lot of these places. Delaware, I've not lived there. But let's set the room. So everyone take a breath. And I want you to just listen to these 3 questions. And if you can say yes to each one, stick around. If you can't, it's okay. You can go grab a cup of coffee. The first question is, are you willing to show up with unconditional love towards yourself, towards the teachings, towards everyone here? Are you willing to show up without criticism, judgment towards others, the teachings, most importantly, yourself? And number 3, are you willing to do your best being comfortable, being uncomfortable? Because these teachings are rich and they're deep, and it's okay if something goes wrong, because we're talking about ego threat. We're talking about things that block. If you're okay with all that, put a yes in the text chat. I think you probably are because you showed up to this workshop. But the room changes when we all agree. And great. Okay. So I think you've all as well, you've gotten the email message, you've got the messaging and how we're talking about this unshakable, unbreakable confidence and natural authority. But it also in a way might shock you because I'm going to reveal the exact recipe for this natural authority, for this find your center energy. And we're going to talk about definitely things that usually aren't revealed. So I want you to hang in there and stick together. And this is really important. We're going to cover really quick the agenda because I want to give you like a recipe, right? So that you get the most out of today. It's a deep dive and we have a lot to cover, but if you don't have like a context or a plan for that brain of yours to organize, it'll just be another information gathering summit. And that's not what we're here to do. At Illumination Academy, we work on taking clear and concise action for true change because action is the insignia of life. But most people hit an edge that is tied into their identity. That's what we are working on today, everyone. And it's all about implementing what we share with you, not just taking notes, because you don't need another mindset trick. You've already done the work. That's why you were drawn to this. You actually need an identity shift. And so after each phase that we're going to go through, we're going to implement something called identity shifting action. Write that down, ISA. It might take you out of your comfort zone, but that's where the magic lies. And you know that. So as you're ready to get out of your comfort zone, you're willing to take one identity shift after each phase, type in the chat, I'm ready. Phase 1 is super juicy. Handle the ego. Now, we could talk days on the ego, but I want you to understand, and I'll show you the ego threat triangle. There are 3 things that threaten the ego when they're disrupted, and I'm going to show you what to do with that, a diagnosis tool, and the exact 3 steps that need to happen so those little ego munchy things get solved quickly. And of course, you'll have an ISA. Phase 2, natural authority. Why do you need natural authority? What your brain and your body and beliefs are actually doing to your reality. We'll dive deep into the law of belief, which changes everything. And of course, some identity shifting action. Phase 3 is unshakable confidence. This is you and how to hold an energy frame that no one else can crack. That's unshakable. That's unstoppable confidence. And of course, phase 4 is a 3-step subconscious reset that I really want you to walk away with because it'll reset the brain, the subconscious, and the body. Our goal here in our short amount of time together, our goal is to make a big impact on your relationships, on your business, on your career, on your life, on your heart, to get extreme clarity on what your confidence collapses, when your confidence collapses, and what to do about it. We're not going to leave you in the collapse. We want you to see what you can do each and every time you start to feel that something's pulling you out and you want to stay aligned. We're going to rewire your brain, body, and beliefs so they all match your goals and dreams. Develop an unshakable confidence frame so that you are the most composed person in the room. And there's only 3 things you need to shift for that. And then access your true potential so that you make an impact in all areas of your life. Look, this isn't a motivational system, everyone. This is a full system upgrade. Because real self-confidence, natural authority is the type of energy that moves entire rooms. It's the kind of energy that makes people desire to know you and follow your lead even before you speak. It's you walking away with a confidence frame that's deeply aligned with your heart, never postures and never collapses. And you having a sense of ownership over yourself, what we like to call true potential. So drink plenty of water, jot down notes, stay off your devices, because if there's anything your subconscious, your brain, your nervous system do not want you to know, it's this until you get to the other side of it. And this is an immersion. It's not just another tactic. It's not another peak state trick because you've already made it. The inner conflict is still there. It's not about faking it until you making or some weird body hack that you can learn on YouTube. We're going to understand how all of these things are tied together. So what I need from you is give yourself permission throughout this immersion. Give yourself permission to let go of an old identity. This is tricky. It will feel like you're grieving. It'll feel like something's grabbing you. It's so familiar to stay in the old identity, but the first step is to let go. Because real self-confidence and natural authority are never given to you by someone else. Confidence is not a trait. It's a skill. It's programmable. It's buildable. It's transferable across every area of your life. And most of all, true confidence is contagious. So will you agree? Put a Y in the text chat if you agree to give yourself permission. This is important. It starts right here, everyone. And I need you to take action. Knowledge can slow you down if you do not implement. Some of you love to come back again and again and just listen to me teach. And I'm so flattered, but at some point you have to take the knowledge and implement. Otherwise, you're just spinning at a certain identity. Knowledge can give you a false sense of security when it's not integrated into action. I think this is one of the biggest problems in the spiritual space, the personal development space. They get stuck. People get stuck on this cycle of learning. I did that for years. I still learn. I invest a great deal of time, energy, resource, money to learn every year so that I can bring it back to my clients. But the difference is I execute and integrate immediately. So what happens though with a lot of people is they'll learn something, they'll go to take action, they'll hit a terror barrier. And so that's why we're talking about you're going to want to let go of an old identity so that you can walk through any terror, any barrier, because we're right here to support you. Is this landing, everyone? Are you in agreement? Let's get some Y's in the text chat. Looks like it. Kristen's in, Mark's in, Sammy, hi. Hey, Gigi, good to see you. Hey, Sharon, hi, Donna, hi, Christina. Carolyn's in. So let's take a very high teaching to kick it off, because that's what we're about at Illumination Academy. All is mind, the universe is mental. As above, so below. These are two Hermetic principles. They've been around since, 35,000 BC. So we're bringing in ancient teachings and merging with modern day neuroscience so that you can actually shift your beliefs. You can change your paradigms, your identity. And that's important because you attract what you believe yourself worthy to be. So not having a natural authority over yourself means you are not in control of your emotions. If you don't have the natural authority over yourself, it means you're handing your confidence, your self-esteem, your worthiness to the world. That's why you want to cultivate this presence, this self-awareness, situational awareness, a concept of self. And this includes forgiveness, as you're going to hear later, worthiness, all of this. Let me just say this. If you're not operating with a high level of self-confidence and natural authority, it's not a mindset problem. It's an identity rooted in the subconscious mind problem and the brain and the nervous system. And that's the internal battle, right? The part of you knows you're capable. You've worked so hard. It's created success. It's like this constant battle with a deeper program that says, what if I get it wrong? I better not mess up. And even just keep playing small, because if you're too visible or too big, someone's going to criticize you. That's an internal world that kills clarity. It congests energy, and nothing will be built that feels stable. And this is why we're here, everyone, because we want to take the ancient principles and ground them with true advanced mindset, neuroscience, brain, subconscious work. And I just want to give you a glimpse of our world, our prosperity code. The centerpiece is really self-mastery so that you can self-coach your way to achieve anything you want. And just down here, we're only dealing with confidence today. But we do deep work in identity, deep work in vision, manifest, elevate, navigate. So today, we're focusing on mind, body, and belief. And if you're okay with this allowing you to create more prosperity, whether it's in wealth or your health or your love or your career, if you're okay with that, put I'm okay. Like, who doesn't want more prosperity? And prosperity is such a luscious word. It's a spiritual word, but it also means it's an energetic world, and it's an energetic position for you. So I think prosperity makes life better, and it isn't just about money. It is about wealth. It is about how you feel about yourself, your spiritual direction, your success. Okay. People are okay with that. I'm so glad to hear, because I'd be a little worried if someone's like, I don't want prosperity. I'd be like, okay, let's have a side chat. Why confidence and authority? I love this quote by Wayne Dyer. If you believe it will work out, you'll see opportunities. If you believe it won't, you will see obstacles. He is describing having this natural authority over yourself, being able to reset, regulate, and have the energy of it's possible. So this is all about remembering something you've never lost, just forgot, and that is your true self, your full potential. Because trust me, people are faking confidence all the time. But all that means is they either posture or collapse. Here, we don't have to rush it, everyone. We just need to get to what is real. So I have a question for you. How long have you known that you have access to more or all of your full potential, but the how eludes you? How long have you known that you've been meant truly for more, but you keep waiting for others to see you, or something, there are countless things that impact you and you stop, or you know that you have to take more action, but you get stuck? Type in the text chat, how long has your heart been wanting more, that you've been dreaming, but you know your action is not up to snuff? How long does the belief in yourself be lower than what it is you keep thinking you would love to realize? Years. Too long. This is not the way to live life, everyone. See, what prevents us from actually turning a dream and manipulating energy into a reality? The one thing that most people miss is action. Action is the insignia of life. Action is the one thing that turns wishes into reality. But there's two main reasons that people stop taking action. One, they don't have a concise system to follow to elevate themselves so they feel prepared to take the action. They don't have the system. And two, they don't have the support they need when they hit a terror barrier. And a terror barrier is when you're up against the wall going, and you're going to see in a minute when that ego threat triangle gets imploded and your amygdala is on fire and you don't have anybody to go to or a sound intellect. So just, you know what? I'm not going to do it today. And most people, this is really important. Most people think that confidence is feeling amazing on top of the world all the time, but it isn't, because life is going to do its thing. Real self-confidence means you can handle anything that comes your way, and you know that. Deep in your soul, you know it. You know you are the architect. And this can happen when you have the system, support, action, you get results. Excuses will deny you the real confidence. But when you own it and you know, it's a massive identity shift. So everyone, type in identity shift into the text chat. Amazing, Ambra, welcome. So quick how we got here. I'm Kisma. Welcome to everybody that's new. Super excited to have you. Over the time I've been building Illumination Academy, we've generated over $6 million as a coaching company. We've helped thousands of people, all by accessing ancient teachings and merging it with grounded modern neuroscience. For me, as the founder of Illumination Academy, I work with entrepreneurs, I work with founders, CEOs, HR executives, career professionals, millionaires, and even a couple of billionaires, and moms and dads. People like you finding your way, seeking your highest and best. And no matter where anyone is when they come in, there's one consistent thing they share with me. And sometimes it feels like a deep, dark secret. Sometimes they're talking about it all the time. But this one thing is they'll say, Kisma, I wake up in the middle of the night and wonder if I can keep it all going. I wonder if my world is going to come crashing down. And then they quietly tell me, my self-esteem is shot. I'm living in fear. Anybody ever feel that way? I know I have. And that was definitely me. I mean, the beginning of my adult reality was I wanted to be a classical musician. So I practiced and I worked, and somewhere deep inside from the time I was 12 years old, I knew I wanted to play in an orchestra. And trust me when I say I had so many disappointments, countless auditions, flying here, flying there, playing for 5 minutes, getting kicked out, sometimes getting close to getting a job. It wreaked havoc on my ego, but I kept going because I had this kind of knowing it was going to happen. And then I landed a gig, Hong Kong. It was a great career. However, as things go, one night during a Beethoven symphony, during a balmy Hong Kong evening, I was on stage counting rests, and I heard this intuitive voice say, "You're done here." And I was a little bit shocked because I spent decades building this career. I had a job that other flutists would honestly kill for. Maybe not kill, but they were very jealous. But I knew this voice was right because I knew I wanted to help people in a different way. So I didn't leave stage. I finished the season, and then I took my daughter and we repatriated to the States. I opened a yoga studio, and this is when I discovered my teacher, Swami Parthasarathy. And Nick and I started going to India and studying at the Vedanta Academy. I mean, we probably made 16 trips there. So it all started to come together. These teachings, a foundation of ancient wisdom to help people stop suffering and feel aligned, feel confident, have natural authority. And then after a few years of building Illumination Academy, I was like, I need some more neuroscience in this. So I met Chase Hughes and I dove into the neurocognitive world. I'm certified with applied behavior research. I'm a top trainer for Avery. And basically, I'm able to bring this kind of training to people to install an alter ego, to reach their full potential on demand. And I can tell you, I remember when I was expanding how I was going to invest in myself, it was before we moved to Las Vegas. I was just sitting on the beach in California. And I found just watching the waves roll in. You know how the waves, when you just close your eyes and you see them steady, coming in, going out, endless rhythm. And you can almost predict the moment they'll break. Each one just rises and each one just falls so smoothly. And as you watch, it's like you start bathing that rhythm without even thinking about, there's a calm, like you're drawn into that movement, just feeling that gentle pull as each wave recedes. And everything else just fades away. And you get completely absorbed in the rhythm and completely absorbed in truth. And that's how we built Illumination Academy. And so everyone, if you're willing to get comfortable being uncomfortable, your life is going to elevate in ways you never imagined. And what I'm going to show you is not just about tactics and tools. It's about an identity change in taking magnificent action. I'm going to be super transparent. I always am. I'm here to help you have more of everything, more prosperity, whether that is money in your business, your career, or a connected relationship, or a deeper spiritual connection, or you want to feel aligned. We are here to give that to you. So everyone take a breath, drink some water, and let's get to the truth of what we need to here. Each one of you is holding some magic. And many of you are holding on to some shame. This is the human experience. Some of the best stories come from people doing things they never normally do, right? And it's rare to find people who aren't afraid to break out of the usual norm. So maybe you found yourself just breaking way off script, and sometimes it felt good, sometimes it worried you. And a lot of people keep a part of themselves hidden, especially when they're around new people. It's funny how much people miss out by sticking to old scripts, old identities. But it's interesting how the people who make the biggest impact are often the ones who aren't afraid to show who they really are. They'll expose the magic. They'll expose the shame. They'll let it go. because they're drawn to a genuine energy. So we're about to rewrite your identity, rewire your brain and your subconscious. And real learning, everyone, takes place right when you allow the change to happen. So nothing pains me more than giving you my heart and soul, which I intend to do today, only to see you months later having the same problem with the same thing. So I want you to tell me right here, right now, that you will take what I show you today and use it as it makes sense to do so. Do we have a deal? Put a Y in the text chat. And breathe and drink some water, because we're going to dive into phase 1. Good. Looks like you guys are in. Amazing. So there's a moment when your confidence collapses, and it's probably the moment you need it most. So there are certain events that can trigger an ego threat that derails your focus, your energy, your authority to a point that it feels like a complete confidence collapse. And again, most people are posturing confidence. Like, you've seen them, and maybe we've all done it. It's like puff up and talk really loud and barreling through the room. But that is also a confidence collapse. So let's take a look at what is called the ego threat triangle. And shout out to NCI University for teaching me this. This is what is taught to Secret Service agents because they can't afford to lose a smidgen of confidence or authority. Take a breath, and I need you to hear this. It's never about the words. When you get triggered, when you have a threat, and we're going to walk through each of these: identity, safety, and control. It's never about the words. It's never about what actually happened. It's about the brain and how your brain is reacting to an ego threat or ego danger. So this triangle is like a window into your insecurities, your fears. And good news is, once you see it, you've revealed areas that as you increase awareness, self-awareness, you have better control over how to react. Does that make sense? So let's look at the 3 areas of this ego threat. Number 1, identity. Self-concept, the narrative of life, your thought around your social reputation, significance. Some people need a great deal of significance, or assumption of what people perceive. Basically, your identity is who I believe I am, and I need to be seen. Then we go to control. So control is like the need to be right, stubbornness. You want to control perception. What's everybody thinking about me? Or you have a deficit elsewhere, so you pile on control in another area of your life. Overall, you can feel powerlessness. But control is your ability to direct what happens next and control in other parts of your life. And when it's threatened, there's a fire. Then we have safety, which is, am I sound? Do people think I'm okay? Or am I humiliated? Emotional safety, social inclusion, respect, hierarchy, shame, guilt, insecurity, comparison, or judgment, jealousy. So a sense of security, status of place and tribe. And so this is screaming at your mammalian brain, everyone, is being threatened. When any area of this triangle gets threatened, your brain goes full limit mode and logic gets bypassed when any of these are triggered. So it could be a new situation, or it could be an old situation kind of is mimicked in new time. When the stakes are high, or maybe you just have a bit of social anxiety, something's going on, even when you're having a casual conversation. A past event could get triggered and you start to feel a loss of confidence or groundedness. Now, here's what's important. When 2 or more get threatened, that's when composure implodes. It's when you shut down. It's when you want to run, when you freeze, flee, or fight. You've handed over your authority to anyone will have it. You hit a terror barrier. Is this landing? So let's look a little bit deeper. Identity. This is who you think you are. You don't want it threatened. Significance is needed and concept of self is often based on others' perception. So if you ever hear yourself saying, don't talk to me that way, that's not what I meant, or you get really defensive, how dare you accuse me? It's an identity threat. Your confidence went collapsed, your higher authority collapsed. You'll get defensive and either say something like one of these things, or you'll be thinking it like, how could that person talk to me? This is what your subconscious mind, brain, and nervous system are feeding, and we'll get into that later. But your invisible identity ceiling, I guarantee it's running your life right now, creating excuses, reasons for you not to reach your next level. Ego threat of control. The need to have power of predictability. How many of you can't stand when you don't know something, what's going to happen? Your ego wants to decide what is next and often reacts when it feels out of control. So you have this need. I feel like I have to have power over the predictability. Your ego wants to decide it. This is where you get reactive. We all go through this. Again, it's a human experience. But here at this immersion, we're looking to elevate that human experience. You can have a reaction like, don't tell me what to do, or I'm in charge. If I can't handle it, I'll walk away. And you'll see this in other people when their confidence is hijacked. You'll feel it in yourself when it happens to you. You feel you have no control in your life, so you're going to take control somewhere. Is this landing, everyone? You might twist words around. You might tell someone they're not listening to you, or you just feel like you need to shut down. And then the third part is safety. The need to feel secure and included. Remember, we're dealing with the mammalian brain. You as a human being, we as human beings like to feel included so that we're in a tribe and we're safe. We're not thinking this. Many of us are really independent. But when that safety side gets threatened, and it could be your status is threatened, your social position, family all of a sudden is mad at you, it hijacks your charisma and your confidence. So this is where you can enter like a hierarchy disruption. And that is where we have a power imbalance. I'm losing, right? You feel like someone is better than you. Your safety, someone's taking over on social media, like all these crazy, insane things. And if you don't have a strong confidence frame, it's an insecurity activation. Someone or something just reminded you that you're not enough. And this is a big silent killer. You can see this all around you. You can see it in others, but this is not about just take a moment. This is not about you saying, oh yeah, that one, that person, my mother-in-law. No, this is about us. Okay, we just got to stay with us. And what happens is some of these get triggered on top of one another. When control starts to get hijacked, when you feel like you're out of control, your identity can get hijacked, right? So think about it. If there's a threat of control and safety, it can create panic and the feeling that you can't do anything right. Anybody been there? Or identity and safety puts you in a shame spiral. And you'll say to yourself, I'm always wrong. I'm just not going to do it. I can't get it right. Well, cancel that. And if all three get threatened, well, this is the person that the captain of the plane asked to disembark because they're in a complete meltdown. So tell me, out of these, which one or which combo hits you the hardest? Just put in the text chat. Do you feel that you lean towards having your identity threatened, or your safety, or your control? Are you making the rounds? Because I think you can see how this creates layers of identity that at any given and important moment can collapse your confidence. So let's just take safety. Okay, good. Afsana. Who else? Which side of this do you feel like, man, that's really hitting me? And guys, you might stay outside. You might appear really calm. I've had people come to me and they're like, people I work with saying, I'm so calm and I'm so centered, but I am dying inside. Definitely safety, identity. INS, good. Safety, great. All of the above. Identity, good work, everyone. So let's go through a quick self-diagnosis tool, just like 3 simple steps. And screenshot this, because this is the thing that you're going to want to start to practice in real time. Let's say all of a sudden you're like, wow, I was fine, and then you're not fine. And it takes a degree of self-awareness to catch yourself. Number 1, you recognize that a shift took place. That's your pause. That's the moment where you're like, okay, something shifted. Then 2, diagnose. Is it my identity, safety, or control? All you have to do is ask, like, what's happening here? Do I feel out of control? Do I feel unsafe? Do I not know who I am right now? Did I just walk into maybe an event and no one knows me and I feel lost? Got it. As soon as you can, rewrite the outcome. Now, I suggest you speak it immediately. I'm safe, I'm in control, I know who I am. I am safe, I'm in control, I know who I am. You just mumble it under your breath. If your identity got hacked and you're walking a room just like, I know who I am. I know who I am. I'm safe, I'm in control. You have to understand, elocution, speaking out loud, this is what Olympic athletes do. You'll see them on the sidelines before they walk into a field. They're speaking out loud because they know the spoken word carries energy. Even Harvard's catching up to this doing research. Is this landing, everyone? Let's do a pulse check. And then control identity. I want to give you an identity shifting action. So here it is. Super important. Number 1, you have to be radically self-forgiving. If you want that ego threat triangle to dissolve and to express natural authority and real self-confidence, you have to be radically self-forgiving. The past is for learning. Number 2, decide on who you are. Decide for yourself and be willing to live up to it. This isn't a meme. This isn't an identity shift that is going to make your little egos. This is an identity shift that may make your ego scream, because you're deciding on a new role in life, a new way of being, receiving, giving. When you do this, you have access to behaviors and traits you had no idea existed before. But you have to decide, you have to give yourself permission to take on a new role, permission to have composure, permission to break through that wall when you hit a terror barrier. So be radically self-forgiving. Be willing to decide for yourself who you are, what roles you're going to play, what alter egos you're going to act from until they're real, and then stop trying to prove. Look, when you're improving energy, you are outsourcing your self-belief and self-esteem to someone else's reaction. You might be outsourcing to someone you know or don't know, and maybe it's social media, maybe it's your mother-in-law, your neighbor, I don't know. But when you open that door, it's the same door that opens for a negative feedback. You do not need anyone's permission to act like you belong. So when you stop trying to prove, you stop being programmable. Because confidence is about composure, and that gives you that natural authority over yourself. And you say, I have nothing to prove. And Lisa, our client, is such a great example of this. She was very big in the public health space, and it was a difficult time during the pandemic. So when she showed up to work through our system, she was really broken. I mean, it was rough. She had people that were turning on her left and right in the public eye. So we went through and looked at all areas of the ego threat in the triangle, and we went through the prosperity code pillars, and soon enough, rapidly, things changed for her. Not just her career, which is now amazing. She's a consultant, and some of those companies are now hiring her to come work for them. but her health, her relationship, her spiritual practice, she's off to India next week. After she even came and did an Avery with me here, post work, she knows who she is. She'll walk in a room and you will not doubt that she knows who she is. So everyone take a breath and let me know what is landing for you that's most important. And hey, I'd love to bring team back up for a moment, especially I know Jen, you're here for a bit longer, and Kahal, tell me for you all what's landing so far that you feel is so important. Jen, you want to start?
I think one of the things that I think hits really big for me alongside what you're teaching is the fact that we have to face that, are we in this loop where we just keep coming back for more and more information and getting the free stuff? And I think we all have done it. We all have done it. But there comes a point where you have to make a decision where you're tired of being where you're at. And then you're going to be real and honest with yourself, where you realize, okay, I can't get any further with what I'm doing. And that's when you have to make that decision and realize you need to take the next step.
Yeah.
And I think it's one of those things where, Kisma always teaches about taking magnificent, inspired action. And if you're not willing to do that, and you're not willing to make that jump and learn this confidence and learn all the things that are available to you, then nothing's going to change. That quote, nothing changes if nothing changes. And so I think that's one of the biggest things that I always take away when I'm listening to, yes, there's teachings, but it just comes to a point where you got to make a decision, and it's going to be scary sometimes, but it's so worth it when you see the transformation that many of us have gone through and some of the examples that you've shared.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. Well said. Kahal, what about you before we dive into some more content?
Yeah, I think for me, the big takeaway here is it's a really good reminder that confidence and authority is not performance. It's about presence. It's about presence, right? If you've ever had the experience where you've met someone for the first time, or maybe not even met them, you've just seen them across the room, but they have a certain air to them. They have a certain presence about them. And it's that presence that gives you the confidence and gives you the authority. But here's what's really interesting. When your identity, when your safety, when your control is you're feeling under attack, you lose your presence.
Yeah,
so
100%.
Inherently, you lose your confidence and your authority.
Yeah, it's great. Well said, Jenna. We're going to come back to you because I've got a ton to share. Thanks, team. You're all amazing. Aren't they amazing? Give them a round of applause. And Carolyn, I love this share. So disappointed with yourself. This is where you go to that radical self-forgiving, right? It's just like, okay, I got to let that go. And then I get to decide on who I am. And then I don't have to prove anything. So beautiful self-awareness, and just a nudge. It's a perfect time to apply that. So everyone, let's go to phase 2, the 3 B's of natural authority. They're like 3 precision markers because you are a complex human being. It's not enough to work on your mindset. It's not enough to go for a run. It's not even enough to journal. You can biohack all you want. I mean, Nick's got like some infrared sauna coming here. I think it's already here. And you can jump up and down before you walk on stage. I mean, I've been on stages with people who are like Tony Robbins students, and they're great, but they're backstage jumping up and down to get into their state. And I'm like, I think I'm just going to breathe. So you can do all the hacks you see on YouTube, but you need to have the complete recipe to be the most composed person in the room. And like Gahal said, it's about presence. And so that's what the 3 B's of natural authority is. So drink some water and let's dive in. Brain, body, and belief. These are the 3 B's, and they are powerful. So number 1, let's dive into the brain. Your brain responds to your version of reality. It is deciding who you will most likely be today, your identity, based on all the things you've been so far. So your brain responds to that current version of reality. Your brain is not a truth machine. It's a prediction machine that falls in line behind what you're expecting. And that can be scary if you are always expecting the other shoe to drop, because then your brain edits reality to match what you expect. The brain is showing you the version of reality it believes you can survive. Your brain and your subconscious mind only let in thoughts, behaviors, and opportunities that have established the current version of you. All of reality is inside your head to start. Remember, we're in a mental universe. Everyone has been living inside the prediction that has been running their life. Your brain is not a logic center. It's that expectation engine. Everything gets filtered. So the quantum truth is that you don't react to reality, you predict it and then perceive what matches the prediction. So it's like stacking all of that as self-fulfilling evidence that something works or it doesn't work. You hear me say a lot, the brain, the nervous system, the subconscious mind does not care if you're successful, happy, or wealthy. It cares that you are safe, and it has a perception of safety. So it's like it runs expectation software, but the software was often written years ago. So you're trying to upgrade, you're trying to change your life, but you're tilting in old software. Does that make sense, everyone? So it's almost like an evidence trap. Here's where it gets interesting and probably frustrating. So listen up, this is important. Most of us, I mean, if you're in Illumination Academy, you don't do this, but most of us have been there. Most of you are waiting for evidence before you shift your belief. You're waiting for evidence before you shift your belief. You want proof that it's safe to trust. You want the numbers to go up before you feel secure. You want the money in the bank before you feel abundant. You want the apology before you soften your heart. This is why highly successful people who are calm and centered know something. It's the secret that there are unseen hands, unseen laws ready to support you. You build more faith when you train yourself to believe before you see. But here's the trap. Your physical brain doesn't show you new evidence until after you shift expectation. And that's because of this thing. You've heard the reticular activation system, right? RAS. You'll see memes and stuff on Instagram. Oh, I'm looking for a red car and I see all these red cars. Well, it's like an internal spotlight. And it only highlights what matches the forecast that's already running. So let's look at a weather report, right? Because your brain's forecasting. So if your internal weather report says today's going to be a storm of letdowns, then even if something amazing happens, your brain edits it quickly to ignore it. You won't notice the good thing. You won't follow up with the opportunity. You will hear tone of disapproval when there was none. And then it confirms your original belief, not because it's true, but because it's familiar. It's an evidence stack. And let me ask you this. Who here has had something really cool happen and then you minimize it? You don't celebrate it? Anybody? Part of that is you haven't opened up to your receiving center, recognizing and celebrating. It's like the other part is your brain didn't predict the good things, so it won't give you time to pay attention. That's why you have to override this. Used to. Okay, Shelley. Victoria's yes. Think about what that creates in your future, everyone. I'm going to say this again. It's important. Your brain, your nervous system, your subconscious mind do not want you to be successful, prosperous, or even care if you're loved. They want you to be safe. Safe, familiar equals safe. Safe equals attractive. What do? We repeat attractive until we go through these teachings and we have more awareness. So let's take a look at this. The problem is probably in your amygdala. You have an amygdala problem and you have a reticular activation system problem. So your amygdala, it's way in there, like this red little oval shape. It's good. It saved our lives back in the day, right? Hunters and gatherers, you hear something snap in the forest and you're like, oops, what is that? And then it goes up the hierarchy and the prefrontal cortex is like, oh no, there's a squirrel, it's cool. But we're in a very stressful, you would really just call it energetic world right now, where everything feels like an attack to the amygdala. And so when you feel like, I'm going to go do this new thing, or I'm going to invest in myself, or I'm going to finally go for that promotion or that relationship, you hit a terror barrier because your amygdala is like, ding, ding, ding. That's not how it goes here. And then if you aren't present, if you haven't developed the self-awareness to calm it down, say, no, move over, I'm going to keep going. Or if you don't have the system, or if you don't have the support, the filter doesn't work for you. You'll like be filtering out all the positive and just looking at the alerts. Is this landing, everyone? It's really important to understand. It's like in psychology, they might call it a confirmation bias, right? As we human beings seek information that confirms what we already believe. This is why we're always breaking the mold of identity. We're always looking at our belief system. We're always wanting to break through that identity ceiling, because then everything opens up to what's possible. All right. Dalila, Shelley, Carolyn saying yes, Ambra, great. So question for you, and let's take it in the text chat. What has your brain been predicting that your soul is fighting? Your soul wants something. There's this quest inside, right? There's something you're like, no, if I could do this, when I do that. And sadly, it's always in the future because your brain keeps predicting it's going to fail. What is that? Let's get a few shares on this, because this is revealing, everyone. This is part of like, oh, I got to look at it. If you don't recognize it, it keeps getting missed. It keeps getting filtered out. Disappointment. But what your soul wants, Afsana, is the opposite of disappointment. But your brain's predicting disappointment. Carolyn wants generational wealth, but is your brain predicting scarcity or lack? Expansion, creative projects, a higher timeline. So that's what your soul wants. Is your brain predicting that? Brain says, I'll live in RV forever. If that's okay with your soul, you're good to go. If it's not, you need to rewire the brain. See what happens? Mark wants the greatness. His soul, it's in there, but somewhere when he goes to take action, I bet his brain's like, no, it's not going to work. So let's just come up with an excuse. And guys, you all come up with really seductive excuses. Trust me, I've been there. You'll get fatigue. You'll get hit with a fatigue wave when you're trying to move through. And if you don't have the exact system and tools and clearings to move through, you'll just circle back around. Christina, that's amazing. We can help you with that. So fascinating. That's just the brain. I mean, that's just, I could go into the negative neural grooves that get built through rumination and where we really want your brain is like this clean sheet of ice so we can build the positive neural grooves. So we could do a whole workshop on the brain, and we talk about a lot in terms of that in Illumination Academy. But right now, this is one of the B's. So let's look at the second B, which is your body. Your body makes decisions before your mind does. Again, back to the mammalian brain. It's responding. Your mammalian brain's responding to so much. This is why it's easy to read people when you know the cues. It's easy for me to see when someone's in stress, when they're in shame, when they're deception. We can't read minds from body language. Like anybody who says they know if someone's lying, they know when there's stress, right? So I could say, oh, so-and-so's looking down right. There's an emotional response. Or someone's looking up left. Oh, they're accessing something of intelligence. But everybody's baseline is different. So we read people, we get a baseline, we understand. And even the guy, there's some good people on YouTube, but they can't tell if someone's lying. They understand when the baseline has changed, when there's uncomfortability or a lack of confidence. So let's look. I want to give you the most basic body language things that aren't hacks, that they're actual a state of being. 2 things. Are you open or are you closed? Write that down in the text chat. Open or closed. Every time I meet a person or even just a client, the first thing I look is, are they open today or are they closed? Are they hunching and wrapping their arms to feel safe? Or are they relaxed and arms are open? Is their chin up? Are they covering the main arteries in their neck because something feels unsafe and the ego is already threatened in terms of safety? Is there a soothing mechanism? Most of us have this. It's very normal. But when you just start with, am I being open or closed? You then have elevated your self-awareness. I'm going to give you 3 things to do. Are you guys open to 3 things with your body? That really changes in how you operate and how you show up. Let me know if you want them. They're really simple. That's why I wanted you to do them, because when you stack them, it's very powerful. Okay, cool. Carolyn's all in. I love playing full out, Carolyn. Mark, okay. Move slowly, speak slowly and pause, and smile with your eyes. When you move slowly, you are saying to the room or to the energy, I'm in control, and you've just solved one of those sides of the triangle. People that move slowly are anchored. They're grounded. They're like, I'm taking the time I need. And it's not like, okay, I'm going to move slowly now and you look weird. It's just like, I'm there. When you speak slowly and when you allow pause, you're doing a couple things. Number 1, you're saying, I don't need to rush. I only need to know what's real. And when you pause, when you're listening, you're saying to someone else what they said is important. And when you pause, when you're talking, people are going to lean in. You don't need to plow over anybody. And number 3, this is a big one, smile with your eyes. I guarantee this, that when you are drawn to someone, it's because they have a sincere smile. When someone doesn't smile with your eyes, and you see it on social media or even at an event or meeting, your mammalian brain recognizes it. If you didn't know this before, that you actually want the crinkles, you still felt it. When they smile with their eyes, and it's called a Duchenne smile, D-U-C-H-E-N-N-E. When you smile, when a Duchenne smile, it's genuine, it's authentic, it involves both the mouth and the eyes. It's signaling true enjoyment. So when a forced smile will just be the mouth. But the whole thing involves the zygomatic major muscle up on your face, the orbicularis something in your eyes, like everything goes whoop. You lift your cheeks and you get crow's feet. But this combination indicates first to the old brain in a person that you have positive emotion and you build trust. We're going to do an exercise, Ambra, to get there. Now, here's a great example. Barack Obama, whatever you think of his politics, open, look at the smile, completely confident, completely owns the room. It's a great example. Here, Nick will be surprised at this one. Jenna knows these guys too. This was at an event. All right. 3 entrepreneurs here. Look how open, happy they are. Yeah, they got their hands in their pockets just because they're cool. They're comfortable. This guy on the right, Brandon, he runs a huge gym and fitness program. And John in the middle does some great work. And there's Nick. This is all when we were in an event with Jenna and one of our mentors, Kevin Huddle. But look at them, open, relaxed, like, yeah, we're having a good time. Nothing here is a threat. Nothing here is disingenuous. Is this landing, everyone? So here's a non-Duchenne smile. Sadness, trying, but she's pursing her lips. Julia Louis-Dreyfus, love her. She's pursing her lips. She's withholding something. But here's another picture. Look at the difference. Now, yeah, she has her hands in front of her, but it's just like, she's so open up here, because sometimes people say, oh, you're blocking yourself. Yeah, she's just whatever. If she had her chin down and she didn't have that beautiful smile, went like this, I'd be like, yeah, she's not comfortable. Your smile says so much. And of course, it's going to release the endorphins and the oxytocin, all those feel-good chemicals that you actually deserve to have without being on TikTok. So you want to smile. It's just like one of our clients, Judge Nicole. She was an attorney. She worked so hard to land on the bench. Before she went through our system, as an attorney, even as a yoga teacher, energy healer, you'd walk into a room and man, shoulders were up and it was tight. It was almost like, as a defense attorney, the defenses were up. Even the jaw was tense. You could see the stress, the protection, the control, and the identity of the triangle were threatened. But then she did the deep, deep work in our prosperity code system. And now, whether she's in robes or not, she carries herself like a judge, authentic, tall, shoulders down, and happy. Is this landing, everyone? So we've got the brain, we've got the body. Let's go to the beliefs. What you think, what you believe to be true about yourself, the world, and others is your belief system. Now, most people focus on what they believe about themselves, and it's really, really important. But so much is shown when you say, I believe this about people, I believe this about the world. You're basically saying what you believe about yourself. And so what you think is true about others in a situation is what you think is true about yourself. And this is hard for people to hear because right now there's a lot of divisiveness. People just want to criticize one another. They want to blame. Guys, when you do that, something in you is not settled. You can disagree, but you don't have to have all the anger and the disruption and the craziness that happens. So the law of belief is creating a reality based on what you believe at a core level. This is why if your confidence is eroded or you have an authority problem, you have an identity problem. Your identity has been hardwired into your brain and belief system. So a question for you, and let's get this in the chat because the reveal is very helpful. What is a current belief you are running in your operating system, in your head, in your heart, that is not creating confidence? In fact, it's an anti-self-confident belief. What is that? Let's get some shares because you're going to find, everyone, you're not alone. What is the current belief you're running in your operating system that is not creating the confidence that you want, the natural authority? I can't do it all. And maybe that's true. I can't do it all. But somewhere you're allowing that Christina to run the show. And so if we go back to the brain, it's doubling down. It's showing you events where you can't do certain things. I'm not enough. I'm always being judged under a microscope. You're getting a lot of I'm not enoughs here. Others are better than me. Keep quiet. I'm going to be hurt again. And the that Sheila, what do people think of me? This is really important, right? The fear of the moment we're worried about what people think, we've handed our authority to them. They have hijacked our authority. I expect to be perceived as not enough. Guys, I'm so glad you're sharing this. But do you see how you're fighting? You're fighting an internal old software because of your brain, your body, and your beliefs. Your beliefs affect every part of you. It starts with the brain is shooting off electrical thoughts into your subconscious and out into universal space. Your subconscious takes what you send to it as truth. The universe responds to what you put into it. This is why we say the universe doesn't respond to what you want, it responds to your vibration. There's a story, I'll stop sharing the screen for a minute. There's a story that just is amazing and speaks so much to the law of belief. There was a boy, I think it was in the state of Illinois, and he grew up in a small town, did well in school, everybody liked him, good kid. And in the 12th grade, he took his scholastic achievement test, right? The SAT, because he wanted to go to university. And I don't know, a few weeks after he took the test, he got a letter from the university saying, okay, you're accepted. And by the way, your scholastic achievement test is a 98. So you're admitted for the fall semester, but you got a 98 on this SAT. He thought the 98 was an IQ score. So all of a sudden, he went from, I'm really excited to go to university, to, holy cow, how am I going to make it? My IQ is only a 98. True story, everyone. He's thinking, wow, this is below college level. I'm so lucky I got in. All the A's he got during high school, all of the good grades, discarded. His brain immediately went into, whoa, dude, you're not smart enough. So he went off to college. And after the first semester, he was failing or nearly failing every subject. So his counselor calls him in and says, hey, what seems to be the problem here, dude? You did so well in high school. We were really excited to have you. These courses are only like 1 degree higher difficulty than your high school courses that you took. Are you having problems with girls or friends, drugs? Like, what are you doing? What is it? And the boy said, well, sir, I'm doing the very best I can, but you can't blame me. I've only got a 98 IQ. And the counselor just smiled and said, what are you talking about? In my letter of admission, it said that you got a 98 on the scholastic achievement test. And he's like, that's not your IQ. That is a percentile, which means that you score higher or equal to 98% of the students in the country who wrote that test. You're one of the brightest kids at the university. So you can imagine flip-flop in beliefs, in reality. And he did his research. He's like, okay, he's not lying to me. This is true. And then he went off and obviously crushed it. By the time he graduated university, he was in the top 10 of a 30,000 student university. He was leading in all his classes. He changed his reality, though, back and forth. As Cahal said earlier, who's around you? Who's around you to check your reality, to help you with your beliefs? Because sometimes we fall into a group of people that are believing lower than they could. And when we're sucked into that energy with no external coaching support to get out of it, you're in it. And you might try really hard to get out of it, but it's not happening. And really, most people believe they're limited in some way. Every one of us has gone through that, where we feel like we're limited in intelligence, creativity, money making. I can't sell. But when you shift it to, hey, it just might be possible, then the energy shifts and your reality shifts. Just like Melanie. Melanie, after just 1 year, she increased her coaching revenue for 120%. And she just does not go away. She's been with us for years. She just finished her second TEDx talk. She's built her coaching program to nearly 7 figures. And she continues to do the deep work because she understands every level is like a new identity rewrite. So it's not like, hey, I reached this level, I'm going to stop. It's like, no, I better take what works and keep going. Double down. Is this landing, everyone? So let's take, for the brain, for the body, and for the beliefs, one identity shifting action. Act as your future self in front of your family or friends. Who's going to do this? And why did I choose family and friends? Especially family. This is a massive pattern interrupt. So let me speak to this. Your brain needs a pattern interrupt. So the way you can maneuver the future self act differently is maybe when you're at the next family gathering or with your current family, you walk into the room slower. Maybe you dress up in the middle of the day. You're acting for your future self. And you're going to do this in front of family or friends because this is usually where you have a great fear of being judged. And they might criticize you, and all you have to do is what? Move even slower and smile with your eyes. Who's in? I guarantee if you do this, you're going to break through something. So we're not done yet. I hope you've enjoyed so far what I presented, and you've got one more thing to help you have real confidence in natural authority. I want to share it now, and then we'll get back to some more of the really juicy content that I hope you take action on, because you can be the architect in your life, right? So this is a way, I'm going to share something really special. It's a way to help you apply all of this into your career, your relationships, your business, your entire self-esteem. So my team and I are going to be offering a handful of sessions this week to go deeper. Now, this is called a prosperity code call. And on the call, we can actually help you go deeper into your blind spots, figure out what you need to do to adjust or fix the places where your self-esteem breaks, the places where you're not standing up with higher authority, and the systems you need to focus on to up-level your confidence and your authority in all areas of your life so you can have more prosperity. This is a one-on-one call with our team to dig deeper. And if you like, we can also talk about if you are interested in working with us directly. We can talk about what it's like to be in the community, to have the support, the systems, and the tools to actually guarantee to get you where you want to be in the next months rather than years. So if you'd like to grab one of these sessions, the team is going to put the link in the text chat. It's go.prosperitycode.com/one-on-one. And if you choose to have one of these sessions, which will be very, very potent because we're really good at what we're doing, I ask 3 things. Because by taking one of these sessions, everyone, by signing up for one of these, it could be the most valuable 45 to 60 minutes you spend on your career, on your business, on your relationship all year long. So if you book one of these sessions, I'm going to ask 3 things from you in return because I'm giving time, my team's giving time. Number 1, you've got to be ready to take action in your life. Even if you've been out of action and you've been, as Jen said earlier, just an information gatherer for a while, now you're leaving hunting and gathering and now you're in the world of transformation. So it's time to commit to taking action. There's a lot of noise out there that will only make it harder for you to reach your goals. Number 2, you be open to feedback and be coachable. Be open. We may tell you things you don't want to hear. So if you're not open to coaching, you're probably not going to get any results. I just truly like when you're able to just be open, let go, that's when the magic happens. And number 3, make sure you're on time for your session. Show up. We're committed to you. So be careful that you don't like, oh, I'm going to book this call. And then all of a sudden you let your brain, subconscious nervous system talk you out. Show up, be on time. We are setting aside time to meet with you. So again, this is with me or my team. It's one-on-one. Don't be taking the kids to the dentist or the dog to the vet. Be somewhere where you can focus, take notes, go deep. Each of us will text you from our own phone saying, hey, I got this call. I'm excited. Respond. We're doing this so we can create that energy. So if you can do these 3 things, go ahead, click in that link, book your call. This will be incredibly potent. And again, if you're interested in working with us, if you want to be able to have the guarantee that you can realize maybe it's a new level in your business, managing your team, the growth, we will talk about what that looks like. All right, everyone, click on the link, get your call booked, and I guarantee it will be so potent and so helpful for you. All right, now let's go to phase 3, the confidence frame. You carry a frame of energy, and this energy hits first and it never lies. So once you have the 4 corners powerfully tuned in, you will have a new identity, a new reality, a new confidence frame. So a real confidence frame has perception, belief, expectation, decision. I'm going to walk you through these. Think about it this way, everyone. You all walk around the planet with a frame of energy. I call this your confidence frame. Sometimes the frame collapses. Sometimes somebody here was talking about how they had a difficult client and your confidence frame collapsed. That other person's frame overtook yours. But the frame is like the lens that your mind is using to understand what's happening around you and to define the interaction. And to be honest, everyone, in a high stakes situation, the frame decides who has the power, who has the rules, and how seriously you're going to be taken. So you are either creating the frame that others are stepping into, or you're stepping into someone else's frame. There's really no neutral ground. And the wrong kind of frame, listen up, this is important. The wrong kind of frame is the person who believes in their reality the most. They have no flexibility, no understanding of self-awareness or situational awareness, so their frame is locked down. And then what happens? Their ego threat triangle gets imploded. So let's look at the 4 corners. Perception. The perception corner is the story internally that is running inside about any situation you're in. So what's that story running about what's going on around you? The belief corner is what you think is true about you, about them, and about the situation. Expectation corner is what you think is probably going to happen. It's your personal law of expectation. Like Barry said earlier, he expects that others are going to criticize him or he's not enough, something like that. So he revealed his expectation corner. It's weak. We got to dial that up, Barry. The decision corner is who you have decided to be, and therefore what you have decided will happen. And so if you are going to a meeting or maybe a job interview or meeting with a client, speaking on stage even, or a sales conversation, your perception of yourself is unworthiness, even deep, deep down. If your belief is going to resonate that will propel your expectation to quietly expect the worst. That means you've already decided that you're not able to realize whatever it is you're trying to pull off. Does that make sense, everyone? Your frame is your energy. These corners are all directing all the way to the decision. So let's look at where you are. I want you to type in the chat where each of these are. So start with the perception, 1 to 5, 1 being the lowest, 5 being the strongest. The perception of possibility. Do you have a 5 that you perceive what you're doing, where you are is possible, the best is going to come out, or is it low? What about belief about yourself in any situation you're walking into? 1, is it a low? Is it like unworthy? It's not going to work? Or are you like, let's bring it? 5. Sort of like Jen energy here. She's got that. Expectation that it will or will not work out. Are you expecting the worst? Are you expecting no matter what, which is a really powerful, successful attitude, no matter what, everything's going to work out for me? And then the decision, are you in control and decisive? Or is your decisiveness weak? So let's get shares in the text chat. And Joe and Jordan, happy. We're excited you booked a call. Mark, excited you've been doing the work. So what corner and where are you? This is the big reveal. And this is where the magic happens, because once you're like, oh, wow, I'm truly expecting things to not work out. We're going to have that. We're going to have a shift that we go through shortly, but I really want you to see this. 555 for the first time forever. Good, Shelley. Could be decision this week. And then reverse engineer, Carolyn. Why? Like, do you have a belief that it's not going to work out? Are you perceiving things? Yeah, Dalila, you're doing the work. Dalila's in the ashram, so she's doing the work. So keep focused. And I'm going to take you through something in a minute. Victoria, perception 3, belief 3, expectation 4, and decision 1. I would venture to say, and I love your clarity, Victoria, that if decision is 1, belief and expectation are actually lower. Is this landing, everyone? It's like you're holding a frame of energy. So let's look at what needs to change. So I'm going to ask you, which one of these corners, and just share, like, we're having fun here. If the answer isn't my answer, it's not a wrong answer. If you were to change one of these corners for an immediate shift, which would it be? What do you think? One of these corners for an immediate, like you're like, oh, my frame's collapsing. What would be the corner that you change? I know the corner I'll change and I'll share it with you, but I want to hear what you guys think. What is the corner you'll change? Perception. Afsana's my girl. Let's go with perception. Let me tell you why. 3 changes in perception can immediately change the entire frame. Perception's everything. When you can edit it, when you can shift it, you then shift belief, which then you shift expectation, then you shift the decision marker. When you change, write this down, when you change perception of the situation, whatever's going on, when you change perception of yourself, and when you change the perception of what you need the outcome to be, you're gold. So let me say that again. Let's say, for example, someone's walking in to close a deal. And they're like, ooh, perception of the situation. And I help clients with this all the time. They're going to be antagonistic. It's not going to go well. Hang on. What if actually everyone's pretty chill? What if you walk into a room that feels very aligned? Can you perceive one corner of the room that's very aligned? And then if they're saying, yeah, I just know I'm going to be nervous. Hang on. That's expectation for sure. Change the perception. Shift your body language, walk slower, perceive yourself as a leader. And then whatever the outcome, remember earlier I said you don't need to prove anything. You need to be available for the highest and best. Do you see how that's landing, everyone? When you change these three parts of perception, the belief changes, the expectation, you make stronger decisions. Because the most composed person in the room wins. So I want you to imagine something. Let's say you're at an event, the kind that you often dread going, but you find a way to make yourself visible to a few. But this time, you walk in slowly, confidently, and actually connect with people that are meaningful. In fact, imagine again that you sit down to enjoy some space, and other people start coming over to your table. This isn't because of your shoes, or your dress, or your bag, or your suit. It's because you exude the energy of composure. People are seeking certainty. You cannot put a price tag on making people feel seen and heard and showing with this natural authority over yourself and confidence. So let's look at the frame strength. This is kind of fun. B times P times E divided by N. Your depth of belief in self times the ability to change perception rapidly times what you actually expect to happen divided by neediness. What do I mean by neediness? How much validation, agreement, approval you unconsciously seek. The more needy you are, the weaker your frame. So can you see, everyone, how important it is to have real confidence in natural authority and how it's just part of the bigger picture, but it is such an important part? And how you probably have an invisible identity ceiling, you've all exposed it, that's keeping your frame from that true strength and resilience. So let's go into the identity shifting action for this. And then I have a cool reset for you. Act, speak, believe from your future self. So similar to what we talked about you're going to do with your family, but this is a bit more potent. And you can speak it aloud. I decide to, because I believe, and I expect blank to happen. So fill it in. Maybe it's, I decide to pitch this offer because I believe in its value and I expect the right people to say yes. Or maybe you decide, I decide to invest in myself because I believe that I am worthy of support and I expect an amazing outcome. And then you act immediately on the decision, even if it's in a small way. So take a screenshot of this. Let me know what's landing so far. And are you willing to do the identity shifting action? I'm going to bring up an image of Jen. You guys met her. She did this work again and again. She massively worked on her confidence frame by doing the work, all of it. I mean, the deep spiritual work, the brain work, the body work, all of it inside Prosperity Code. And now she helps us out on the team, and she's going to be on stage in Chicago with Jim Quick. Like, sky's the limit when you fix your frame. So how you doing? Who here has doubts that you can make a change? Who here has a dream that keeps running in front of you, but you've not leveled up your belief, your brain, your confidence, your authority to make that dream happen? And your soul's getting tired and it's sad. Look, we come from its possible energy. And when you shift that, which you usually need some support, which is why we are offering a call, when you get that support, you're able to see the shift. You're able to feel worthy enough, willing enough. And that's when you become unstoppable. It's not when you just keep spinning in the same place. Remember, your brain, your body, your nervous system, your subconscious mind, none of it wants you to be successful. It doesn't care. It wants you to be safe. We are going to rewire that. You've done a bit of that already. But if you have a tired soul, book a call so we can get you aligned. And I promise you, when you understand the depth that we have here at Illumination Academy, whether it's working with the greatest sage in India or the top behavior expert, we bring it all together here. It's a place that is magical and unlike any other coaching program. I mean, we guarantee that you have results. So now take a breath, and the link's in there to click and book your call, everyone. And then I'm going to take you through a 3-step subconscious reset. You can use this anytime and anywhere. Anytime you feel like you're losing confidence, anytime you feel like you're not grounded, you're not in centered awareness. But if I give this to you, please promise that you'll use it. Don't just walk away. Oh, Carolyn, we'll work with you. Just shoot us an email. We'll be opening up times Saturday or even Sunday, Monday. So let's do this. I want you to close your eyes if you can, just for a moment. And I want you to imagine you're waking up tomorrow morning with absolute certainty that everything in your life is going to work out perfectly. Not because you have all the answers, not because you can see the future, but because you have made a fundamental decision about how you are going to show up in the world. You have decided to act as if everything is going to work out for you. And what I know to be true is when you make the decision, when you embody that energy, and when you step into that version of yourself, magic starts to happen in ways you never thought possible. Even right now, as I'm speaking to you, there are millions of people around the world living in fear. They are paralyzed by uncertainty. They are stuck in patterns of thinking that keeps them small, exactly where they are in this perceived safety. But here you are listening to this. And that tells me that you're different, that you are ready for something different, ready to step into a new way of being, and ready to discover what happens when you step out of fear and into a process of living life. You know that we've all here at Illumination Academy have spent years studying universal laws, energy, human behavior, and how our minds work, how energy creates a pattern and vibration, how what we carry determines the experiences we attract. And what I've discovered will revolutionize the way you think about your problems, challenges, and enter an approach to living full out. That most successful people, happy people, the people who attract everything they touch and turn it into opportunity that works for them, they have this one thing in common. They act, they believe, they expect everything always works out, even when they can't see how. Even when they're just not seeing the numbers in front of them or the results yet. And this takes real confidence, and it takes that natural authority. So breathe that in. Be willing to be one of the 1% that's like, yeah, you know what? Even though I can't see it, I'm going to go. I'm willing to step into a container. I'm willing to get support. I'm willing to hop on a call. Because this is the people that do this, that do the work, are leading the evolution of the planet. Take a breath. And I want to walk you through something that you'll get faster at implementing as you go. For now, it's a promise to yourself that you will give it your best shot when you feel your confidence crumble. And this came to me because I remember once, couple times, several times going onto stage, I felt really nervous, like out of my body nervous. Like people thought I was calm, but I was flying out of my body when I was a musician. I was disconnected. I don't know, maybe some of you go through that. So I'm backstage, the hall is packed. I'm about to go out and play a concerto. I hadn't done any of this kind of work yet, but this is how the formula started, everyone. It began backstage at a concert hall to show me the path of what I would teach others and work on mastering myself. I had to have three things. I had to address focus, because it takes a lot of focus to perform, and it takes a lot of focus to do anything with authority. It takes a freaking lot of focus to hold your positive thinking. Number two, I had to get back in my body. I had to be grounded. I had to breathe. And three, I had to believe that it would all go really, really well. Otherwise, my performance was up for grabs. So let's start with you. When your authority is up for grabs, what are you usually focused on? Are you focused on being judged? Are you focused on getting it perfect, or trying to control outcomes? Which side of the triangle is happening, right? We're back to the identity, the significance, and the control. What do you think? Just put in the text chat. Because again, this is part of that self-awareness. Every piece you are aware of, you're allowing yourself to let go of the old identity and to establish a new. So usually focus on, you're afraid you're going to be judged, afraid to get it perfect, having a shame spiral. Are you trying to control everyone? Judged. It's common. So this is helpful as you go through the process. So take a breath. Step one, focus. Choose your target. So your brain needs focus, right? Your energy needs focus. So you choose your target and you say out loud, my target is, you're gonna be like a spy. My target is powerful calm. My target is one more powerful next step. My target is to exude natural authority, whatever it is. And then everything else is background noise. Everything else is background noise. So you are establishing your target. Everything else is background noise. Then you take a micro action, which is focus on a fixed point for 10 seconds. It could be a screen, a corner, a person, whatever it is. That's step one of the reset. Remember, your subconscious mind follows whatever your attention deems as important. So if you're establishing my target is calm, all of a sudden, your subconscious mind starts to pay attention. And everything else is background noise, is just eliminating that, because you can't fight. And get into that later, but you can't fight. Step two, body re-enter the instrument. So authority collapses when you live from the neck up. The body is the switch. So you breathe and you inhale into the abdomen. The reason you do the abdomen is this is what animals do in the wild when they're releasing trauma, and you're an animal. Inhale into the abdomen. You can go for 4 counts. And then exhale out through a small opening in the mouth for 6 counts, just like, you probably do this naturally, like, oh man. Because if you're like, there's no connection in the body. So inhale in the abdomen, try it now for 4 counts. Exhale through a small opening in the mouth for 6 counts. And as you do that, press your feet in the ground, whether you're standing or sitting, because you're anchoring into earth. You're bringing awareness to a part of your body that usually don't think about. Micro action on your last exhale, drop your shoulders, relax your jaw, and smile. Step 3, belief. If you don't decide it will go well, your experiences become a negotiation with doubt. If you don't decide it's going to go well, your experience becomes a negotiation with doubt. Will it? Will it? And you're like ping-ponging. So you say out loud, my presence is enough to change this entire room. Or everything always works out. Whatever it is, make up your own, but say something out loud. You could say, this is going to go really, really well. I only need the next moment. One of my favorite ones, if it's really intense, is I do hard things really well. And then you can do a micro action, like a quick visualization of everything is just like golden, because your subconscious responds to snapshots. Remember, the person that is the most grounded, least affected, and exudes positivity ends up creating the world everyone else is wanting to be in. So if you'd love to be that person that is creating a world that other people want to step into and you can help them, follow the process, hang around. All right, everyone, take a breath. Exhale. Let me know how it's feeling. After that reset, just put in the text chat, how do you feel? We're going to sign off. Again, if you've not booked your call, team will put the link in. If you're having trouble finding time, let us know. And we've got Cahal here. Jenna will come back up. What do you guys think?
That was amazing, Kisma. Thank you. You said something at the very beginning of the workshop that I'd love to revisit, is you said about knowledge isn't really power. It's the implemented knowledge. And I just want to offer that up for people that are, maybe on the fence about, do they want to expose or be vulnerable on a one-to-one call? First of all, that call is completely private. So when you're on that call, it's one-to-one. There's no other people around. And if we can't take action to make some shifts, we're going to stay stuck.
Yeah.
We're going to stay stuck for maybe a long time. So I just want to invite everyone, if they've been on the fence to book a call, take a breath, set up that one-to-one time, and let's move it forward.
Yeah, I love that. And again, if you're having trouble finding a spot, there's a place that you can email, I think, right, Jenna? Do you want to address that for a minute? Because I think you're familiar with that.
Yeah, sure. You can reply to any of the emails that we sent you, and we'll get you started. And I'll drop my email in here for anybody who's looking for times. Also, depending on if you're on your phone or computer, sometimes you might have to just click and scroll down a little bit extra to find some more times.
True. Yeah. Thank you, Jenna. All right, everyone, you're rock stars. You showed up. It was really cool. And I love seeing so many people that stayed on. They're focused. It's unusual to have a group that are really focused and ready. This is deep work. Like I said, I pulled out some stops and I brought some things to you that kind of high level. So I hope you take them and implement. I hope you book a call with myself or my team, and let's get you going. And sending you all a big hug, and let's go. Sky's the limit, everyone. Thanks to the team, Cahal, Jenna, Nick behind the scenes. And Jen had to leave for another appointment, but thanks to her and everyone, we will see you soon. Namaste.
Can we practice our big smiles?
Our big smiles. No, you got to get this.
Okay, the eyes go.
Yeah, Jenna's got it. Jenna's got the real smile. The Duchesne smile. You're going to know when someone smile like, oh yeah, they don't really mean it. All right, everyone. Big hugs. See you soon.